Here it is, a very sunshiny day, Tuesday morning. I've already had my Jimmy Dean uh, croissant, sausage, and egg, and I'm going to tell you a little story. So you get your cup of coffee, and if you got a donut or a cookie or something, grab that too, because you're going to be waiting a while I talk. This is one of those talk days. So, I'm going to tell you about yesterday. I was also eating my breakfast, which was another croissant, sausage and egg breakfast, and the phone rang, and it was friend. Actually, it was Jan's friend, but she's my friend too. She became my friend too. Jan and Lou once worked together. Lou was an attorney, Jan was her assistant, and they worked together several years, and both the jobs went haywire and what have you, but they've remained very good friends. So, of course, Jan's in South Carolina, in Florida, wherever. I don't know where she is. She may be in places she won't tell me about, because she'll know I'll get mad because I didn't get to go with her. So anyway, Lou says, how would you like to go to lunch with me today? I said, well, I'd love it. And she said, what time? I said, well, make it late because I'm eating breakfast right now. And she laughed, and so I said, well, let's set it for 1 o'clock. She wanted to go also. She said, can you walk very much? I said, well, I'm very limited with my walking, but we'll manage. You know, whatever you want to do, I can manage. So she said, well, I want to go to Dillard's. I said, well, if you go to Dillard's, I have to go to Dillard's with you, because that's the only place I shop. So anyway, she takes me to P.F. Chang's. It's a really nice restaurant. We had a wonderful lunch. In fact, I had enough leftovers. I said, I've got 2 more meals out of what we had today. So we wander through Fayette Mall. And she's holding on to me. She's really concerned. She doesn't want me to fall, doesn't want me to push, trying to walk too far. And I said, well, when I get to where I can't handle it, they have all those comfort chairs spread out throughout the mall. I said, I'll just sit down and you can do your shopping. So anyway, we got about halfway through, and I said, well, the next stop is the restroom. We got to find a restroom. And I said, why don't you go ahead and go in Dillard's? She wanted to check the cosmetics. And I said, we'll be going right in the door beside the cosmetics, and I'll find a restroom while you're there. Okay. Well, I sat a few minutes, and then I asked a clerk, I said, where is the nearest restroom? Well, it was just a few yards from where I was standing. That was great, right outside of Dillard's door. So I start toward there, and what do you know, who comes out of the restroom but Lou? And I said, well, that's where I'm headed. So when we finished, we go back in Dillard's. She'd already found her cosmetics, and I said, now let's go look at shoes. I can't go in Dillard's without looking at shoes. So we roamed up and down through all the, oh my gosh, the shoes they have now, just unbelievable. And there she said, well, do you feel like going upstairs where the clothes are? And I said, we have to go upstairs where the clothes are, because I can't come in Dillard's without looking at them. So we got upstairs, and oh gosh, you know, the styles have changed so much, and it had been so long since I had been there. I wanted everything I saw, and they were having good sales. So she was showing me her favorite name brand, and This lady is one of those that when she's dressed up, she is dressed up. She looks fantastic in her clothes, and she knows how to pick them. So she was showing me the brand name, and I fell in love with everything that we looked at. So we wandered over. We were walking past the lingerie, house coats and things. I said, oh, let's stop here. I've been meaning to come here, hoping to find a sale on house coats. You know, the little house coat that you wear around the house. Just grab it, snap down the front, what have you, zips up the front, and throw it in the washing machine and put back on. Well, we were in luck. Look what I found. Now, these things are way overpriced, I have to say. They are overpriced. But this one was so cute, and it was my size, and they were having a 65% off sale. Well, what's better than that unless it's 75%? So I bought this little house coat, and I said, well, I need a nice one in case I fall out of the bed in the middle of the night and the ambulance comes. I won't have a nice little house coat handy that I can grab before they put me on that gurney. And of course, she got a laugh out of that. And I said, this one is one I'll hang on the back of the door, so it'll be handy. And we kept looking, and she found a few things, I found a few things, and we did great. By the time she brought me home, we had been shopping 4 hours. I held up pretty good, and she was kind of proud of me too. And I said, all of a sudden, the back didn't hurt so bad, and I wasn't staggering. We had a really good day. A very nice lady. She's more than nice. She's the kind of person that you want to know, and you want her to be your friend. Because if you want someone dependable, she's the type of person. She's like Jan. Jan, she even commented about the things that Jan could do, that her knowledge, how quick she was with jumping right into the situation and taking over. And so they were two of a kind, really. So there I've got my daughter and I've got Lou, and I'm in good shape as long as they stay in good health. Now, let's go from that to another subject. Just a few days ago, and you'll remember, I was showing you all of these greeting cards that I had, this big stack of greeting cards, what to do with them, who can use them, make craft items with them, and I had told you about the neighbor I had who was so talented, and she was the type that would take the cards and she would make the bookmarks, and she would cut and recreate new cards. Now, from there, I'm going to go to this. Are you one of those people that you get a letter from someone, and rather than throw it away, you got a little box? It might even be a box like this. See, this looks like a cigar box, but it's actually a wooden box. And it's one of those little boxes that you just tuck things in. A letter, a note, something that you can just reach over and get. Well, years ago, I went to an auction. And at that auction, I saw a little wooden stand. It was very primitive looking, but it was one of those little wooden stands, and if you sew or knit or crochet, that sort of thing, you'll know what I'm talking about. The stand held a wooden bowl. It might be a round bowl, it might be a long oval wooden bowl. And that's where women would put their knitting needles and thread and their crochet stuff. And they would set that stand right beside their chair where they would work, and it was always there handy for them to sit down and start sewing or whatever. Well, I wanted that little stand, and I bought it. I got it at the auction, and so from there, I said, now I've got to find either a wooden bowl or a basket that I can attach. It still had the little base at the top of the stand where you knew something had been attached. So I started out looking for the container that I could use. And finally, I found a rectangle wooden box that had been decoupaged. This will work perfect, just about this big. And I nailed it to that little stand. And for years and years, that little stand sits beside one of my chairs. And I've got something in my hand, and well, what am I going to do with it? I open up the box, I drop it in there. For instance, I'll give you a for instance here. Let me see what I've got. I'll show you. Well, what have I done with them? Maybe I'm in the wrong box. Let's go to the next box. Oh, I had them out here somewhere. But you know how you get a letter or a card in the mail, and you say, oh, I want to keep that address. So you tear off the return address on the corner of the envelope, like this. See, I tore that right off of the envelope. I got a handful of them here. All these are return addresses. Here's one. Let's see who this is from. Oh, this one has John Jauncey. You don't know, most of you don't know him, but he's one of my best friends here in Lexington. He's a jewel. You'd love him. So his return address has a little horse on the side of it. So if I need to send something to John, John has given me some really terrific gifts. He has done favors for me, and I said, gotta keep his return address. One of these days, I'm going to do something special for him. And here's another one. Let's see who this one is. Upside down. Oh, this was Karen Carpenter. Got her return address. She sent me the most beautiful birthday card ever was. So I said, I got to keep Karen's address. We're related way down the line. You know, maybe about 8 or 10 cousins or something like that. But we're addressing, well, whatever I was going to say. So we are semi-related, and we keep in close touch. Got to keep her address. So you see, that's one of those things that I put in my little box beside my couch, my chair or couch, wherever I happen to place it. Now, this is another little box. It does look like a cigar box, but it is wood. Now, I opened up my big box. Well, what in the world is in here? I'm just sitting here looking to see what's in there. I pull out 2 letters. I don't collect letters ordinarily, but I pulled out 2 letters. Oh, here they are. Oh, this one. Let's see when it was. Well, I got it upside down. No wonder I can't read it. it's a Christmas letter, one that's been printed, so that's a lot of words in this letter. It's from my cousin. He's my first cousin. His name is Paris. We called him Junior because he's named after his daddy. We were the same age. Our birthdays were about 4 days apart. His family was the one that we always went to visit every time on weekends when Mom and Daddy, we would go to Middlesbrough. The first house we went to was Uncle Paris's house. Now, this is his son, my first cousin, and he's the one that would take my sister and me out to the barn, and we would climb up in the loft, hay loft. Oh gosh, that was the most fun in the world, and the pigs were down there somewhere, and there was a little creek running beside the barn. We were in heaven when we got to go to Uncle Paris's house. So this is his son, Paris, and his wife, Virginia, and Gladys, his sister, my first cousin. These three people. All three of these people are gone. They're not here anymore. And I just happened to save this letter from them. Keepsake. Okay. Oh, here's another letter. One of these little, a note from Faith Andrews. It's a little 2-page letter. Now, I'll tell you about Faith. Faith was my sister's best friend. They graduated high school at the same time. We're talking about in the 1940s. And so when I moved to Clinton, Tennessee, I would go out to dinner with them and their husbands on Friday nights. Oh, we would go out somewhere, maybe down by the marina, and we'd have fish dinners. And they were so much fun. So, oh, you just laughed the whole time. And so, my sister had died. Faith, of course, was older than her. And she was at the funeral home. Two of the few remaining friends and all. Well, this letter is from Faith. She was about 93 when she died, and she just said, "It's been a while since I wrote you or heard from you. We were doing pretty good for old 86-year-old folks." So you see how many years before she died that she had written this letter. Now, she's gone. These people are gone now. And there was another one from I can't remember what I did with that one. It's around here somewhere. But that's why you save your letters. Because years later, you find that letter one of the most interesting things you've got in your collections. It may not say very much to entertain anybody else, but it's got meaning when you start reading it. And I don't really collect, well, you don't get letters anymore. You have to go on the internet and on Facebook, and they say happy birthday, and that's it. But getting to my point, I told y'all about the craft things that you could make, and you were telling me some wonderful ideas too of what to do with greeting cards. I reached down in the bottom of this box and I was just floored when I realized what I had in my hand that I'd forgotten all about, and I'm going to show you what it is. This is my little box here, see? I'm going to open that box. Now I'm just going to pull out a few. Just a few. The lady that was so good with crafts, it was her husband that invented the electric typewriter ball. She was about as talented as anybody I've ever seen. You see these? These are greeting cards that she made. Now, let me give you, for instance, it's not going to be easy for you to see what I've got here, but I'm going to try to show you. First, I'm going to tell you, you know you can buy blank greeting cards. I mean, they're not greeting cards. You can buy blank cards. And you say it's a small one. Let's say, for instance, you get a box of envelopes, plain envelopes. Well, you need the card. Here is the card. This is the card right here. Blank, has nothing on it, nothing. Had nothing on the outside until you decorate it yourself. This is where those greeting cards come in. You can cut portions out of those greeting cards, the little pictures, the little deer, the little puppy dog, the pretty tree with a deer standing beside it. This is what you do. Let me show you. I want you to understand what I'm doing. Oh, I just dumped them in the floor. Okay. Let's take this little card. It's a plain little card now. It has a plain envelope. Get those old greeting cards out and let's see. What can we put on? What can we put on this card? First of all, you go to Michael's. And you know, Michael's have those sheets of paper, colored paper, all kinds. You can gold, silver, you can get it with polka dots. You can get them solid colors. Get you several sheets of that paper cutting. I can't think of the name of the paper. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Art paper. Now, first of all, this is something, if you're going to do much of this, also at Michael's, get you these little art craft scissors. Now, let's see if I can show them to you. See those teeth? See those teeth in these scissors? They cut little scallops. You got all kinds of designs. You can have the plain little scallops. You can have the zigzags. But you can see what I'm trying to show you. This is where you cut your paper. Now, I'm going to show you a sample of how that plain paper has been cut. Look at the little tan sheet of paper there. Just look at the tan. Don't look at the picture. Look at the tan part. That's a piece of paper that has been cut with these scissors. See the design? See the design around the edge? Okay, you cut that first. Now go through your greeting cards. You need something that will fit on that card. And by chance, the very first one I looked at was this one. I've got there's about 24 of them here or more. She gave them to me. And what I came to was this card. And I looked, and she had cut out another picture from another card. Look real close. Can you see? This is two ladies at a table. They're probably having tea. They're probably working with a little sewing project. See, one of them got on her little cap, little dust cap that they used to wear in those days. I looked at that picture and I said, it looks so familiar. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to move to one side and you look behind me. what do you see? See the bottom picture here? See the two ladies? They're sitting beside it. Take a look. You would swear, if you didn't know better, that it was almost the same picture. Mine is one I took off of the calendar about 1965 and had it framed. This was on a greeting card. Isn't that amazing? So this is a card I will keep. But she cut this little design off of another card, and these have been glued to this piece of paper. This is a greeting card, blank on the inside where you can write. And on the back is her little label, her name, Patricia Becker. That's a project for you. Let me show you a few more. Oh, I was just fascinated with these cards. Oh, let's look at this one. This, she's done the same thing. See how she did the little scallop edge around the orange? She had a piece of brown paper behind that. And look at the picture she cut out of another card with the little barn winter scene. Same size, it's the same size. You open it up. Now, isn't this something that you would be pleased to receive from someone? Let me show you a large one. Well, let me see if I can find it here. Okay, I'm going to the wrong stack. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of these. I could show you one at a time, but I'm just trying to give you a sample of what they look like. Oh, here's a cute one. Look at this little square one. Give me just a second, I'll be with you. Look at this little envelope. See how it's made? You buy that, you buy the card that fits it. Plain card. But look at what she did. You've got brown paper, buff tan paper, rust colored paper, and look at the picture of the fruit. They've all been glued on to this little greeting card. And on the back, it has the little label, Art Created by Patricia Becker. You can do the same thing. Now, I showed you the little scissors. And here's something else. If you sew, you know what this is. You've got one of these. It's called a rotary blade or rotary cutter. You can buy these little wheels, and that is your cutter. Get you a mat. You can buy the mat in the fabric stores or in Michael's, and that's what you cut your little squares of paper with this. You get your ruler and you cut your paper, and that way everything is cut to perfection. All these little squares. Now this one came with a color. See, the card was like this. You opened it up this way. So you had this. So what did you do? Well, I had it upside down. There's what she glued to this card. You can write inside, and she's got just two things. And see the difference? Cutting edges, they are different. Those are the little scissors that you use to cut around those edges. And that's as pretty a card as you could want to receive from someone. Let's see now. Yeah, and see, you get these little rotary blades. You get you a mat. Now, this sounds like a lot of stuff, but it really isn't, because those mats come in mighty handy when you're cutting things with your rotary cutter. And I've used my rotary cutter many times cutting fabric. All right. Now, if I bored you, well, you know how to click the button, turn me off. But for those of you who need something to do, you need something that you can create yourself and enjoy and be pleased with it when you're finished, I just showed it to you. And once you gather your materials, save up your cards, other people will give you their greeting cards, and you set your table up and you go to work, and you will have, all kinds of cards. Look at this little card she had in here. See that little envelope? Isn't that cute? Well, that's one received from someone. But I've got a whole bunch of them here. All kinds that you can see. You can cut from this card, cut something out. This is not a good example, but you can cut some of that out and put it on a blank card and create your own design. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is this. And it is something I have been searching for 4 or 5 years. What did I do with it? Well, first let's start off with a story. Jan was working for an attorney whose office was in a historic house on Broadway. 2-story brick house. Oh yes, you looked at it, you knew it was 100 years old. Beautiful. Had the porch, in front of the porch was a big brick arch. And you looked through that arch and you could see the front door. And the front door was also arched. Glass front. Okay. 2 or 3 years of the time she worked for this attorney, he had me decorate his office. It had different rooms because there were other attorneys in the building. So I went through and did the foyer, the front porch, the door, what have you. So one year, after I had decorated, he hired an artist to come and watercolor paint the picture of the front of the building, the big house. And in that picture was the arched front, the arched door, glass in the door, and the decoration on the door. She painted that for him, and he decided to take that painting and have it copied for his Christmas card that year. I'm going to show it to you. Now, you know how watercolor is. the lines are not always distinct. So you have to use your imagination a little bit. All right. This was his Christmas card for, let's see, 2005. It says on the back, we are proud to have, I can't read. We are proud to have something, the 2005. Oh, we are proud to have won the 2005 Holiday Window Decorating Contests. This was a contest by the city, and they chose downtown. They chose the window decoration, and this was it. Wait a minute. Here we go. See if you can get a good look at this. You see that you can't tell anything about the decoration on the door, but I did the decorating on the door. This is a picture of the door that I decorated. And I finally found the card among all of these other cards I was saving. But I wanted you to see that, and I was just so pleased to know that he had Christmas cards made from the watercolor painting of the decoration I created. Isn't that nice? And then he says on the back, and it won the city's decorating contest. Take a real good look now. This is the name of the office right over here. You see the light up here that hangs down inside. The window at the top, the glass door. This is on South Broadway in downtown Lexington. And that's my decoration on the door. So you had to listen to all the story just to get to look at my decoration. And thank goodness I found it. And you know, I'll bet you, if you ask, I would probably find your return address in these. Bet you anything, I could pull out your return address if you sent me a card or anything. I would have one. Here's one that says, no, you don't know this one. Okay. Just let me name 2 or 3. Mr. George Skinner. Mr. George Skinner, I'll tell you about this man. He's soon be 94 years old. I've known him since 1954. He and his wife, best friends, all our lives, best friends. So he got a birthday coming up in about a week. And I've got a card just for him. So this is one he sent me at one time. And I tore off his return address so I would have it when I needed it. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I got these all. Oh. You might recognize this one. I tore that off of a large envelope. Yes. Okay. See what else. Oh my. Whole bunch of them here. Here's one. She's one of my favorites. Can you read it? Well, she may not want you reading her address, but her name's Nancy Hudson. So I didn't give you time to look at it real good. And goodness gracious, what we got here. Let's see. I really shouldn't be showing you these because I'm giving out their addresses when I do. So I'll just tell you their names. Oh, here's one. Shirley Duffy. Does she sound like a redhead to you? Well, she is. And I met her in Pennsylvania last October. Sweetest thing ever was. Yes, you are, Shirley. So I've got her return address. See what? Okay. Well, I could do a decoupage with nothing but these little return addresses on a box, just like my. Well, what do I do with things? How can you lose something when it's right in your hand? What do I do with the box? Oh, it's down here by my chair. That's what I do. But see, you see how this is something that's like a decoupage. And while I'm showing you this, see how they did the stamps and all this stuff? I'm going to tell you something else. And a few of you will remember. When Home and Gardens first started on television, it came right out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And I remembered, I watched it religiously because it was my favorite program. Lynette Jennings had been Miss America. She was one of the artists on Home and Garden she was a decorator. And another Miss America also had her own show. Her name was Susan. Her last name won't come to me, but if you can go back as far back as I can, 25 years, you'll know who they were, because if you liked Home and Garden then, that's when it was at its best. You'll remember those two lady decorators, both of them Miss America. Okay, there was a decorator show on Home and Garden called Christopher Lowell. He's a designer. I've seen his material in shops somewhere. And I used to watch his show every afternoon. He would have the audience, and he would show different things that had been made. For instance, he showed on one of his shows a little wooden box. Wasn't as big as this one. It was more this size. The size of a postcard. On that postcard, on that box had been painted, not glued, but painted, a postcard. And it had the return address and the little note down at the bottom and the address. It had the postage stamp. By chance, my sweet, wonderful friend in California that we had just become acquainted, and she was one of those artists that, to me, could do anything. One day she told me, she said, "Do you watch Christopher Lowell?" And I said, "Yes." She said, she gave me a date, and she said, "I'm going to be on his show." What? On Home and Garden? Christopher Lowell? Oh, I had to mark that date down. I watched the show when it came on. He introduced her and showed, because people would bring things that they had made, and he would show how to do these things, you know, just a typical crafter, artist, what have you, telling you how to make things. So he was showing this box. And this is what she told me when he interviewed her first, and she had sent the little box to him with the picture of the postcard on top of the box. That decoupage, you know, type thing. But no, this postcard was not decoupage. It was hand painted, the whole thing. And he asked her, what was your method for decoupaging the postcard on the box? And she said, the postcard is not decoupage on the box, it's hand painted. And he nearly flipped out. He could not believe it was not a real postcard on top of that box. And he started feeling up, and he couldn't believe she had painted it, and it was, you would have said, no, she didn't paint that. That's a postcard. She painted it. And I was just so thrilled for her being on a national television Christopher Lowell show. I thought I'd throw that in too, because this lady is such a fine person, and she is so multi-talented, and so is her husband. He built canoes, and she would do wood burning like a wolf or a bear or a fox or something on the side of the canoe. She would wood burn the design. Beautiful work, beautiful work. And he also made, I should have gotten it out, he made those ballpoint pens. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get that for you because you need to see it. I'll be right back. I'm still here. Gotta get turned around. I'm in a tight spot here. Okay. This is what she sent me. He sent me. And I want you to see it. And you've seen these before. But when I found out that he made them, I asked for one. This is a ballpoint pen. Look close, real close. This has been turned, carved. I don't know what it's made of. It may be wood. I have no idea. But he made these all sorts of colors and styles a ballpoint pen. This was Lisa's husband. Both of them multi-talented. Isn't that beautiful? Take a close look. And somewhere in some stores, you're going to see the same style things that are made out of different materials. This may be made of a certain kind of wood that has been turned and made let's see how to, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we open it up and see. So, I hope you enjoyed seeing this. I hope you enjoyed what I've told you. And I hope you remember what to do with what I told you. You don't get too old to be able to make your own greeting cards. You just sit yourself down at a table, lay out your materials, get your cutting board, pull out your cards, your paper, whatever you got, and go to work. So, that's my story for today. Yes, and I'm wearing my new little house coat. Got a nice little design. So I'm going to have to take it off and hang it on the back of the bedroom doors, so in case I fall out of bed some night, I can grab my pretty little house coat and put it on before the ambulance gets here. You know what I mean. Are you having a good day? Do you know what? I've been talking to you almost an hour. Jan's going to say Mom talks more than I do. Sometimes I do. Sometimes she does. She's not home yet. She'll be back in about 3 more days, and I'm sure she's going to have something to tell me and something to show me. And I'll be passing this information on to you. So you have a good day, and let me know what you think about this show. I hope I got my point across. I wanted to show you something that was useful to you, that you don't have to sit and just do nothing but watch TV. You can be productive. And that's the kind of things I've been doing my whole life, is making things out of nothing. Sometimes it feels like you're making things out of nothing. Corn shuck wreath, yeah, save your corn shucks for me. I'll make you a wreath. So, you have a good day, and get back with me and recommend my channel to new subscribers. Thank you.